Any car tasked with replacing the frankly brilliant 458 Italia is inevitably going to have its work cut out. But given that Ferrari has decided to turbocharge the new 488 GTB, thereby giving its new V8 mid-engine car more power and torque, yes, but also the possibility of lag and a less appealing soundtrack, well, it does make you wonder, has Ferrari done the right thing this time? Or is the 488 going into battle with one hand tied behind its back? Whatever the judgment, several things about this new Ferrari are clear. With 660 bhp from its twin-turbo V8, the GTB is fast with a great big capital F. It's also got 50% more downforce than a 458, boasts LaFerrari spec brakes, and yet costs only a few percent more than a 458. The key question therefore is it better, worse, or just different from a 458 to drive? Okay, so that's what the 488 GTB has on paper. And its statistics are pretty mouth-watering, as you can see, but this is what it's like to drive on the road. And the crucial question, way more than how fast it is. We know it's crazily fast. It's got so much more power than the 458. The 458 was already a demon in a straight line. It's got stacks more torque than a 458. Its gearbox has been tweaked, yeah, so it's really fast, it's really grippy. We know all that because every new Ferrari is, but what does it sound like with the turbocharger? Okay, let me just really let rip in second gear out of here. You've kind of got to make your own mind up. I mean, it does sound good. It sounds unmistakably like a Ferrari. So they've definitely done their job there. But for me, and I think pretty much for everyone that hears it, it does not sound anything like as sweet as a 458. But you know what? That is pretty much the only downside, because just about everything else that the 488 does on the move is absolutely wonderful. It is savagely fast in a straight line. I mean, really, properly, oh my goodness me, fast. It's got to be as quick as a McLaren F1 was all those years ago. And I know that might not have any huge relevance in 2015, 20 years later, but I mean, I remember when I drove the F1 and I just thought, that's it. There's never going to be a faster car than this. This is a series production of V8 Ferrari, and I reckon it could take care of a McLaren F1 in a straight line. That is how fast this thing is. The suspension, the ride, the steering, they're all really nicely sorted. It's got proper ride refinement, this thing, and yet it feels as sharp as a scalpel when you aim it into just about any corner. The brakes on this car are identical in specification, material-wise, to the LaFerrari. They're not just as big as the LaFerraris because they don't need to be, but you know, LaFerrari brakes on your regular V8 production Ferrari, you've got to quite like that. And my goodness me, do the brakes work? They have beautiful feel and just huge amounts of power. You feel like you can stop this thing in about 8 yards, no matter what speed you're doing. It really does stop beautifully, this car. What about the torque delivery? Well, I mean, they've limited it in the first 4 or 5 gears because they just wanted it to feel natural. They don't want this huge gob of torque to be available in first, second, third and fourth and fifth, because you'd basically get to the torque peak, stay there, and then they said that the car didn't feel like it was accelerating anymore. They actually said it felt boring having maximum torque in the lower gears. So you only get the 4 beans of that 740 odd newton meters of torque until you get right up in 6th and 7th gear. But it does give it a lovely kind of sense of linearity to the acceleration. On the road, it makes it feel almost like you've got a naturally aspirated engine behind you, and that's, you know, that is to be applauded. Bottom line though, this thing is still just an absolute hooligan of a car to drive. I was a bit worried that it might actually feel a bit too vicious, but you know, you can do crazy things in this thing on the road and get away with it. Enjoy it rather than just get away with it. However, this is not the ideal place to be doing that kind of stuff. Where is the ideal place? Is Fiorano, and that's where we're headed next. So on the road, the 488 GTB is little short of sensational, but what's it like to drive flat out on a track? We are now inside Fiorano, and obviously I'm inside the 488 GTB at Fiorano. I'm going to start off I'm not going to do race, I'm definitely not going to do sport, I'm going to be in CT off, just to see what this new side slip control actually is like. So 3rd gear, 4th gear, 5th gear, stonking amounts of torque this car has got. So that's now full throttle. Yeah, it kind of works a bit, but it still takes the throttle away too soon from you. I really don't want it to do that. And it gives you a kind of little bit of oversteer, but just for a kind of sort of mini hero moment, but it doesn't give you the full bit. I want the full bit. So I'm going to go turn the whole lot off, because that's what the testers say that you should do, so you should. Gearbox just works really brilliantly, it really does. Oof. It's beautifully balanced on the throttle, it really is. I'm not absolutely convinced by this engine. It's very, very easy to run it into the rev limiter because it is just so smooth. 5th. It is very, very quick, this thing. There is no question about that. I like the fact that you can do that in it, obviously. I mean, that's just marvellous. Conclusion, the 488 GTB is more than a worthy replacement for the excellent 458 Italia. It's insanely fast, but also manageable. It sounds more than good enough. It is breathtakingly brilliant to drive. Click on the video windows to watch our first drive of the Lamborghini Aventador SV, or watch a track battle between the Mercedes AMG C63 Estate and Audi's RS4 Avant. Click on the play icon to watch our latest video, and on our logo to subscribe to our channel.